Barkey J. Dog here, back from digging up an old bone from the 1980s, namely D.C Cab, a 1983 effort by the late Joel Schumacher. That's right, this guy, attempting comedy yet again. D.C Cab is famous for two reasons. One is that it features Mr. T, just off Rocky III, and just before taking on his famous role as a member of the A-Team. Another is, it isn't very good. You might think I hate Joel Schumacher, but I don't. He directed some good pictures, but at this point in his career, he hadn't gotten to those yet. Anyway, this is the story of a young man played by Adam Baldwin, who shows up at his uncle's cab company in Washington, D.C. Back in Georgia, his father told him, before he died in Vietnam, if he ever needed anything, to go see his uncle. The kid wants to learn the taxicab business, with an eye towards having his own cab company one day. And so he turns up looking for a break. Unfortunately, the cab company his uncle runs is a mess. The drivers are all misfits. The cabs are a wreck. There's an inspector gunning for them. There's not much money coming in, and they keep losing business to a better rival cab service. And so things aren't looking good for the D.C Cab Company. The kid has to organize the misfits and save the day. Now, if all this sounds like a pretty standard 1980s comedy, you would be right. The formula is there. That is, a group of misfits are faced with oppressive forces which they have to team up to overcome. To do that, they have to learn to respect each other and come together to achieve their goals, usually led by an outsider character who joins them at the start of the picture. And each misfit gets their moment to shine. It's kind of a satire of serious pictures like The Dirty Dozen, which uses the same formula, but for drama instead of comedy. We've seen this formula play out lots of times in 80s comedies. It's on full display in Stripes, Police Academy, Animal House, Moving Violations, Ghostbusters, Revenge of the Nerds, even the Goonies might qualify. The formula can also be seen in a few 1970s comedies, but it really came into its own in the Dayglow era. So why didn't it work in this one? Well, one problem is the movie just isn't all that funny. Much of the comedy depends on people shouting. Seriously, everything is shouting in this picture. Shouting, just by itself, isn't funny. And the movie is a hodgepodge of different events that all get resolved before the next event, never culminating in a big payoff, tying everything all up at the end. Characters are all over the place too, and you never learn much about most of them or why they drive the cabs. There's some twin brothers who are bodybuilders. Can't tell you any more about them beyond that. There's a lady cab driver who gets robbed all the time, but why she keeps driving the cabs, well, don't know. Can't tell you what her motivation to stay is, other than the uncle just keeps talking her into it. One guy pretends to be a jive-talking brother from the hood, which, at the same time, is attending night school to become a professional and have a real career. He hides the fact, even wears a fake afro wig to conceal his conservative haircut, yet he sort of still is the jive-talking guy from the hood all the time, and spouts a lot of race stuff. Schumacher was a writer on the seminal 1970s comedy Car Wash, and he seems to be retreading old ground, just not as well. A lot of the race stuff in this movie could have fit well in Car Wash, but in the 80s D.C Cab, it just seemed to fall flat. Like it was cringy and didn't belong. At least, Not the way they did it here. Well, I have to give a shout out to Bill Maher, who plays one of the cab drivers. Frankly, I liked his character the best. The movie could have used more of him. He plays a talented musician driving cab between gigs as he waits for fame. He has a great scene with the kid talking about life, but he only has one funny scene toward the end, and it's a quick one. Gary Busey is another driver. He plays an airhead. He's okay. He has a few lines that Twitter wouldn't like, though. Irene Cara appears as herself and sings a good 80s song over the end credits. That song is one of the highlights, a real 80s pop song. And Mr. T is fine too. He's just there being Mr. T, looking out for the kids. Whitman Mayo has a small role as a humorous, drunk cab driver. You may recall him as Fred's friend Grady on Sanford and Son. He was in a lot of stuff. He even had his own show as the Grady character. And Jill Schoelen plays a love interest for the kid. She's cute as a button here, but you never see much of her. But overall, I don't think the movie gels. Definitely could have been better. It's not even a product of its time. You can't even defend it that way. So I give this one 2 paws up. It's not a loser, but it's not a winner. It's on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and Amazon Prime if you want to check it out. I pity the fool who doesn't call his mama. Call your mama. Call her. Call her right now. Call your mama.